welcome to Dog Talk. I'm Dan Camilleri.
And I'm Laura McKillop. We'd like to start by thanking Enduro for their ongoing support in bringing you our fortnightly Q&A. Tonight we're lucky enough to be speaking with Will Cox from Cox's Working Dogs.
How are you, Coxie?
Good, thank you.
Very good. Will, is it Will? Is it Coxie? Is it Junior? What are we calling you tonight, mate?
Whatever works. Yeah, Will. Yeah.
Will do. How's it been, big fella?
Yeah, no, it's been good. Like I said, I've been very busy lately.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, it's been going really good. It's just raining at the moment, so.
It's been pretty warm there.
Yeah, it's been very hot.
Is it a bit of a cool change coming through?
Over the summer, probably not. I reckon it'll get hotter.
We're still hot here this afternoon, but we're meant to get rain tomorrow, I think, Daniel.
No, I think we're another 40 degree tomorrow and rain after that at the moment.
Then maybe, yeah. Meant to rain all weekend.
And you said you've been busy there, Will. For people out there that might not know you, mate, also not just young yourself, but a new father.
Yeah. So, my boy is 1 year old. Turned one earlier this month, and juggling him and work and the dogs all together. Yeah.
How quick did a year go?
That's
ridiculous. Like, I remember meeting you 8 years ago, a kid yourself, and at a dog school with your oldies, and the young kid running around moving sheep, knew more than half of just about all of us that come to work dogs. And look at you go now.
Yeah, no, I'm not that little kid anymore. So
you're not, mate. You're not. You're not. You're a well-mannered, respectable young man, mate, and it's a privilege knowing you as well. So,
thank you.
You're welcome, mate. So, our guests out there that might not know, do you want to just tell us a bit about yourself, where you're from, where you grew up, what you're doing?
Yeah, sure. So obviously my name is William Cox. I'm 22 years old. I live at a small place called Bendick Murrill, about 20 minutes out of Young, on the Cowra side. I'm a shearer. That's my trade at the moment. And I grew up at another small place called Manildra, between Orange and Parks. Growing up, mum and dad and most of my family have been in this game with the livestock, mainly the livestock game, not only dogs.
And between now and leaving school, what did you get up to?
Between what? Sorry, and leaving school.
Between now and leaving school.
Left school and I went straight to work. I didn't go to university. I just wanted to go out into the workforce, and I worked for a company, MHPF, there for a little bit, and then that was at Gundagai. I started there, just helping out as a casual. Learned so much there, and then I moved around a bit. Went to a couple other farms, and got to work with you, Laura, and a few others, and I've worked on a few properties, and I come to like the sheds and the shearing industry, and that's where I am now.
Yep.
And a wide span, like you mentioned MHP there, but you got to work on some feedlots. So in doing a lot of yard work, a lot of mustering at those other places, and now shearing yourself, and you had dogs throughout it.
Yeah, no, I've done a lot of hours since leaving school. Yeah, a lot of hours. I think we looked at a bit of paper there a while back, and I did 80 odd hours for the week or something. Been pretty busy, but it's all a good learning experience for me. I get to learn new things, and it makes me who I am today, and I wouldn't change it for anything else.
Yeah. And what is it about the shearing that you're loving?
I just love how we just go to work, get it done, and get to go home. You try not to think much when you're shearing. You just go to work. And, obviously, you're thinking about the good job that you try to do, but I just like how we just work. And it's really good good going. Like I'm lucky enough to be in with a really good crew. My boss is awesome, so I work for Emerald Shearing Services, James Roach. And yeah, no, it's been awesome. Don't get me wrong, the money's good, but I just like working. So.
And obviously, like your family's had a long history working livestock, as you mentioned. Did you ever think about doing something different, or was it always, no, I'm going to be in the livestock industry?
Ooh, that's a good question. No, I've always been in and around the livestock, like with the junior judging and that growing up, and helping dad out and being around mum and her father, JR. Yeah, I couldn't see me doing anything else. I think the passion took over. Like when I was growing up, in terms of sports, there was a couple of times there where I drift playing footy.
Yeah, I remember.
But no, I've always come back to the ag industry, and I'm loving it. I wouldn't change it.
So obviously, deep family involved. Was there anyone else outside of the family that inspired you to
Oh,
be in the livestock industry and around dogs as well?
yeah, no, heaps of people. There's probably too many people to name.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me, I was lucky enough to be able to grow up around so many people. It really gave me that skill to be able to talk to a lot of people like yourself and Laura and others. And yeah, I learned so much, and hopefully I don't stop learning. I've been to Joe Spicer School and a few others, and you always got to keep learning from outside people. Otherwise, you don't get the knowledge.
That's actually really cool. Like coming from someone like yourself who's got like you're focusing near royalty in working dog in the trial scene, doing schools everywhere, but then you still go externally to learn a bit. Like why? Like you mentioned that keep learning, but what
Um,
drives that passion?
I think more for me is because I'm a little bit stubborn and I'm a little bit independent. So
Yeah.
I like to learn a little bit differently. Don't get me wrong, my parents and family have taught me so much.
No one listens to their parents, though.
No, that's right, and I'm so grateful for it. There is the odd occasion I'll go back and work at a few dogs with them, and like, why are you doing that, William? But yeah, just that independence of just being able just to want to go learn other things has helped me.
In
And
saying, has there been someone with the dogs that have sort of really helped mold the way you train? Or would you say it's the basic parents have started you with?
I think it's the community.
Yeah.
Like, there's not just one person. Like, on the weekend just gone, I was at Carcor, and I spoke to that many different people. And you just learn, just sit down with them and just talk. And you're not even asking them questions. It's just what you learn off the great minds. So I wouldn't say so much a person. If I was going to talk about a person, I'd say my grandfather, JR. He's probably been the most influential.
Yeah.
Not taking anything away from my parents, of course, but yeah. But other than that, I think the community. I think
what is it about JR? Like what that?
my
Like,
grandfather.
actually, do you want to introduce him? Probably a lot of people out there probably don't know who JR
Yeah,
is.
yeah. So, like I don't mean to talk about my family a lot, but they have that influence on me, and it's I've been lucky enough. But yeah, JR John Roston is my grandfather. He lives at Armidale currently, and he has been in and around the dogs for nearly 40 odd years or something. He was telling me, and he has a heck of a mind. Like, just the things you can learn off him just by talking. Like, you don't even have to go and show him a dog. You just describe, or anything, like, for that matter. You talk about cow, sheep. You don't have to show him. You just talk about it over the phone, and he's like, "Yeah, I got that solution." And you're like, "Oh, yeah, okay, I was doing it wrong."
Yeah, you ever try and go, no, I'm gonna try and do it this way, and you come back and go, yeah, right, Pop. Like,
Yeah,
stop.
yeah. You come back and you're like, yeah, I was wrong. I was wrong about that. And you'd be like, yeah, I knew you would be. I just wanted to wait for you to stuff it up.
Mate, you want to tell us a bit about your current team of dogs?
Yeah, so as Cox's working dogs, we got collies and kelpies. We have 15 dogs, I think, all up. Got a bit of a mixture. Not really an old team. Our oldest is 6, but that's Maverick. But yeah, no, I like having that versatility of the collies and the kelpies. Like, obviously, again, growing up, Mum was always collies and Dad was always kelpies, so I thought it'd be nice just to take both on, get that experience for the two different minds, and I think it's paid off dividends for me. I think if you can have a dog that, it could be a Jack Russell as long as it works. So, yeah, no, that's my team, Kelpies and Collies, and yeah.
Any particular special ones in that current team, mate?
Oh, yeah.
One or two. Don't have to go through all of them.
Yeah. So, where's the start from the top? No, I got a dog here called Never Be Sam. Yeah, he's pretty special. Tegan even lets him ride in the car. That's how special he is. So Sam, yeah, no, we've been through a lot, me and Sam. I bought him as an 8-week-old pup and did a lot of training. And I went to a lot of people just to get the right training, just to see how far I could take it. And yeah, it's paid off for me with him. And yeah, so that's I got him, and I got a collie bitch off Ed Wall, if anyone knows Ed. Her name's Blaze. And then my third collie is Millicent Park Jewel off Bianca Godson. So my mum originally had her, but I got her off mum. And then, yeah, so that's the collie side of it. And then on the Kelpie side, that 6-year-old dog Maverick, he goes back to Yellow Toss and a few others. My old bitch that passed away, Heritage Park Pod. So it's having some of the old lines in him is what we really like. He's more the enforcer, like can just go like buggery at work, which is really good. Like he's just got a good head on him. And then yeah, got a few other ones. Got a few pups by him. Got a Capri Pride bitch Rita here. She's by Pride out of Brayside June. And we've got a Riley Mountain Rex, who is bred by Greg Walton. He's also a handy dog. But yeah, it's just some of our team, yeah.
Mate, you mentioned Pod there. Like, so as a young fella coming through, having a pretty handy dog like Pod, what'd you learn from Pod?
Yeah, so Heritage Park Pod, she was a black and tan Kelpie bitch. I learnt a lot. So we bought her off Chad Burling. She was my dad's breeding by his dog Sarge. And yeah, she was one heck of a dog. You learn a bit of patience with her, because when she was growing up, she wasn't the dog she turned into. Like, in all fairness, like she was very rushy. Like we spent a lot of time molding her into the great bitch that she had become. But we spent a lot of time together, and just showed each other things like patience and resilience. And she taught me to work different mobs of sheep differently. So yeah, being able to have that one at the time, that one companion where you can really bond off, like yourself and Mo, really, like when at the time you had that one dog, and you just take it to the next extreme. Yeah.
How old were you when you got Pod, mate?
Jeez, when did we get Pod?
We're going back a bit.
Yeah,
now.
I think she came onto the scene when I was 11. Yeah, I think 11. I think is when she came onto the scene. She was born in 2012.
At 11, you would have had more trialing experience than Laura and I put together still.
Yeah.
No. At 11, I was still hanging around, sniffing around, trying to get as many juniors under my belt, I think.
So if she obviously wasn't your first dog then.
No. It's funny you say that. So my very first dog was a black Kelpie cross collie dog called Bolt. He was by one of my mum's college dogs, Bill, Roston's Bill, and out of one of Dad's Kelpies, Carabar Jet. And yeah, no, he was my first dog. And it was really good. Like, we ended up selling him, but it was just something I could call my own. Just have a bit of fun with. And apart from him, you could say she was my first, but she was owned by my dad. Was Wheeler's Bonnie. I spent a lot of time with Bonnie. She probably molded me the most, just because I got to work her at that young age. We spent a lot of time in the juniors together, and those two were probably my first sort of dogs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how you've been such a young fella on the scene when you first come on, and looking like you were there watching some of the absolute legends, like back going 10, 15 years ago, that getting around when they were a little bit younger and getting around. What were some of the things you picked up when you were younger that you really carry with you now?
Some of the things I picked up when I was younger. More working your stock. I still have a bad habit of working the dog. Excuse me very much. Not as much as what I did back then. I used to work the dog a lot, just thinking, I'm just a kid working a dog at a dog trial, But everyone told me to work stock, and you just learn a lot of stock sense. People wouldn't think it, but so much goes into it. Working the stock and working them at the obstacles is probably the biggest things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So trying to look for flow in your stock.
Yeah. So obviously, when we're trialing and at work too, you want everything flowing. You want everything smooth. Just keeping it all one movement. So if that's turning at the gate, to help, just the little things to help your dog out to help get the shape around. Yeah.
Sorry, Laura, I thought you were going to ask something. Were there any dogs back then that like stood out to you and you're like, holy shit, I'd love to wheel that one around?
If I can remember that far, no. Chris Sellers had a really nice black dog called Beaver.
Beaver?
I used to rave to Dad about him all the time. There was Beaver. What else was there? Trying to remember.
What was it about Beaver that you liked?
He was a big strapping dog. He was a solid dog, and Chris, the great stockman he is, worked him to a T, and I just liked how he worked Beaver, and I liked how Beaver worked his stock. He just seemed to have that ability just to keep the pressure on him, and it worked for them. They won some pretty big trials, and it was the same with Alan Rudder and Hammer. Like, Hammer was also pretty outstanding as a dog. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of dogs I saw, but I remember raving about those two a few times, going, "Oh, Hammer's going to be here," as I studied the draw. So yeah.
What style of dog do you like at the moment? Like, what's a dog got to have for you?
I guess on from that too, though, to extend that question is probably like you run both style, like both Kelpies and Collies.
Yeah.
Where do you find a happy medium between the two in terms of style that you like?
So in terms of what they've got to have is I like natural ability. Something that's probably a bit more stickier, and a bit slower, and not so hard in the head. So because I do a lot of yard work, I can teach a lot of yard work. So all I ask for is a bit of natural ability that allows me to work with the outside things. So yeah, like on the collies for say, Sam, training Sam up as a dog, Sam, the greatest thing with Sam was his bond. And I like that with all my dogs. That's why I tend to go for the softer natured type dogs, because I feel like I can get a greater bond. I can help them. And it seems to work. We all give back to each other, sort of thing. So in terms of the collies and the kelpies, I don't really change it up too much, as long as they're nice on the outside. First rule is to get around their stop. So as long as they're all getting around their stop in a nice manner, I can really just take it from there. Working in the yards obviously helps. Like I can get them backing and barking and doing all that. So having that natural outside ability where I can mold them into the dog that they can become really helps. Yeah.
Do you like much bark in your dogs? Because those particular dogs you're explaining, I imagine wouldn't have too much bark either.
They have a lot of bark.
You call it, which line?
Both. So back to Laura's question, it's good to have, it's good having the collies and the kelpies because they do work differently. But you try not to show them that. You try to show them we can be a team, and that's where it helps at home, because they can all do the same thing, and my team works that if it's molded together that if one can't handle one job, the other one will take that place like a jigsaw puzzle. Yep. So that they all help each other in that sense. So I've got a lot of bark. The kelpies and the collies both bark. So Sam, I taught to bark. He didn't have natural bark, but I taught him to bark. He had, so I found the cattle line in him really helped.
Yeah.
Having a lot of Queensland blood in him allowed the strength of his bite and his top knot. He's got an awesome top knot, so it allowed me to work with that. And the kelpies, well, they're just kelpies, bark all day, bark all night. No. Maverick's developed a thing where he can work the force on the ground and bark him around he's my Hunaway. I call him my Hunaway. And they all just seem to bark and bite, and your typical work dogs.
And like you mentioned before that you like generally you used to work the dog more than the stock, right? So how important is trainability to you as well?
Ooh. Oh, you've got to have a bit of flexibility. And that's, I take that back to the bonding. If I can get a bond with them, we can take it to the next step. We can get a bond together, showing that we can come to me, sort of, you can come to your name. And then having that bond of, it's more trust, I don't know.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, we just lost you then. So, creating a bond for a bit of a recall and coming to your name and awareness.
Yeah. So I find my first step is when I'm looking for a type of dog or something. Yeah, just that bond, wanting to be friends. Part of the team. Don't like, obviously independence is welcome, but there's no need to be sulky or that. Just come be my mate. A little bit of so yeah, you got to have a little bit of trainability, but just enough so we can work together. You don't shut me out, I won't shut you out. Yeah, definitely.
Do you spend a lot of time with your pups just mucking around?
I spend a little bit. I struggle when they're at a young age. I do struggle a bit. Just finding, that line of when not to play with them too much, like get in their head too much. You don't want to ruin them, and I do struggle with that a little bit. But when they get a little bit older, about that, 4 to 6 months, I do a bit more with them. So I let them grow up a little bit, and then I do a lot of handling and stuff with them. Yeah.
And when you sort of get into working them, like I'd assume your collies probably mature a bit later than your kelpies. When are you sort of getting into them to sort of train and put them on stock and start doing stuff?
Yeah. So I have a young collie bitch here, Blaze. She's a perfect example of that, and that is the difference of collies and kelpies. Is that I find the collies they're more, not only more trainability, but they're already there with you. Like, I didn't teach her name; she just comes to her name, sort of thing, and now she knows it. Like, whereas a kelpie, you got to train them a little bit to know it because they are tougher in the head. But yeah, so showing them stock wise, you give them a go at 8 weeks. So the collies are the same. You give them a go at 8 to 12 weeks, sort of thing. See if they go around their stock, have a go. And then you'll let them grow up. Obviously, you'll let the collies grow up a lot more, just because I find that they're just nice in the mind, and I don't want to tap into that just yet because I know that I've got what I want. So I just let them grow up and just let them be dogs for a bit. The kelpies, they have a lot of changes too. But you let them grow up as well, and you'll start doing a bit more with the kelpies a little bit earlier, just because the amount of the changes in their ages and their mind. So I'll probably start doing more with the kelpies around that 8 to 10 month period. More so I'll do stuff with them when they're pups, not too much. And then because they go for a change about 6 months old, a real soft period. That's what I've found, and then they come back good, and I feel that's when you can go on with them a bit more because they only get harder as they get older. So yeah, and you just do little bits by little bit. Yeah, and then with the collies, you'll come back with them to about 14 months old, just doing more stuff with them. Yeah.
Are you breeding many of your own pups, or are you outsourcing pups still?
I've bred a little bit. And I hate to tap back to the last question, but back on the last question, I do a lot more. I do a lot more groundwork, I've got to say. So I don't do a lot of we work them around the stock and that. And my training facility at the moment is my front yard. But I do a lot of like on the lead, like when I say bond and I'm looking for that bond, I do a lot of like just being around me, touching them, petting them, that sort of stuff, sitting and coming and I don't do it just to annoy them. I just do it because I like the bonding with them more than anything. But yeah, so breeding our own pups, we bred a little bit. I don't breed a lot. When we do breed it, we breed for what we want. So I help my father out a little bit with that, just because we talk about breeding a fair bit. Same with mum and grandpa. But yeah, so we've got one young fella. He'd be about 5 months old. That's about our youngest, and I know Dad's using Maverick a bit as a sire. So but me myself, I don't really breed much at the moment. I've got enough dogs on my on my hands. Yeah, so
Someone that's got a lot of influence around you, like, how do you go about selecting your own pup?
oh yeah, it's funny you say that because we're totally different, like, all the time. We're like, I like that one. Why do you like that one? So it goes back to having that independence, and everyone's different. And like Laura said, you don't listen to your parents. So I took up a bit of a path of what I like in a dog, and we work two totally different situations. I work in the shearing sheds, and Dad works on his farm with scrubs and paddocks. So really, we're looking for two different types of dogs. But we're still looking for the ones that will work right within the breeding.
Mhm.
So when you're selecting your own pup, you mentioned
Yeah.
independence there.
Yeah, when I'm looking for a pup, it goes back to, well, obviously you want to see that they're interested in working. Something that stands out, like everyone's going to choose the one that stands out, but when I say stands out, like he's there, he's your mate. Goes back to something I think will be easy to bond with. So, yeah, like he's an independent dog, but he still checks in with you, you'd say. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm here, you know, I'm here, take me with you. Style, like work-wise, it doesn't matter the outcome that they come, but like something that's just nice and round and, you know, the natural ability that you can take to work, because if it doesn't work out as a yard dog, you can always turn it into a paddock dog.
Yep. Absolutely. So at 6 to 8 weeks, you're looking for that dog to switch on, and
Yeah.
going around 6 to 12. Sorry, 8 to 12. And then you mentioned with your kelpies, you start on them a bit earlier, away from just the groundwork you're doing. When you get them onto stock, like what's your setup? What are you working on?
I'm just looking for them. Well, obviously, hopefully, as they get older, that they're still interested.
Yeah.
And yeah, if they can go around their stock or start to show interest, that they'll start to go around them. Then you can work with that step of going around them, and just being careful with our stock too. So the two rules are, well, obviously there's two rules that Dad goes by. That's come when they're called and be careful. And like the name and the come call come a little bit later, but yeah, just being careful around their stock, going around their stock, and just showing that they can, you know, maybe a little bit of balancing if they're advanced, but you don't want to push it too much. So yeah, just those things that you're looking for next. Yeah.
And you said you know, like bond is so important to you and everything. How do you then go, like when you put them on stock and that bond's there, how do you go getting them to switch over to actually wanting to work sheep? Like, do you ever come across that or not really?
Yeah, I've had it a little bit, and I don't know. It's just you're wanting to go, like when I'm working in the sheds and on the trailer. I'm working with my mate. Like it's not them independently on a mob out in the paddock. So yeah, I work with them a bit more when I'm training. Yeah, like working together as a team, because when you're in the yards, you know, you're jumping from fence to fence. You know, like quick, come here, I need you. You know, you got 6 shearers running at sheep, going sheepo, sheepo. You just want to fill up everyone as quick as you can.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I have come across a couple that, you know, that they're very bondy, but they take a little bit to get started. And you be patient with them. I like to be patient. After a while, if that doesn't work, well, yeah, look to other options. But yeah, you got to have a bit of patience and just let them. You know, if they're later maturing, just let them grow up.
Yeah.
The time will come.
Have you ever had anything that looked like a firecracker when it was younger? Then it got a bit older and just had no interest at all?
Yes.
Because you got me
yes.
thinking when you mentioned that earlier, when you went, "Oh, yeah, I think that they still want to work." I just thought, "Oh, I'm just actually curious." To ask.
Yeah, I've had a pup. His name was Boomer, and he was like that. He was, you know, one heck of a pup. And he grew up, and he just wanted to be a pet. So yeah, you know, you come across those ones. You take the good with the bad. You know, and if it doesn't work out for me, it might work out for someone else. Like it's just yeah.
Absolutely. And not only like you mentioned before about being open-minded with training, like you're also open-minded with, you mentioned a heap of different lines of dogs there. You haven't just gone to mum and dad's dogs or JRs and stuck with them. Why have you done that?
Well, like you said, we all got different dogs that we like to look at, like how you said, if there was any dogs that I liked when I
Yeah.
saw. So everyone's got a type that they like, and like I do revert back to mum and dad's lines to help them out, but also because that's what I grew up knowing. But I feel it's always nice to go to something outside that you can go back to and say, this worked for me.
Yeah.
You can try different combinations. For example, I bought a Lockerbie bitch a couple of years ago now, Lockerbie Pippa, and she was awesome. So obviously bred by the great Catherine and Fred Rains. And it worked for me. I've always had a thing for Lockerbie dogs growing up as well. Watching that Raymer Storm that Catherine used to trial. She, and that's because she reminded me a lot like Pod. So, like if you look at outside things, you can bring it inside to the lines, and hopefully you create awesome dogs out of it.
Are there any other lines out there at the moment that you like, or you're seeing and you're like, oh, I want to try something from that?
Yeah, there's a couple. A couple from Victoria. I don't mind. So I have a mate, James Lay. He owns Glen Lion Kelpie Stud. He's got a couple nice ones. Vin Getty. Yeah. He's got a Scorioka dog. I like Scorioka Turbine, I think his name is. So there are a couple options to look at. Yeah, so there's a few lines. Yeah. It's just finding what's gonna mingle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because you don't want too much of one thing or the other. You just want it to gel well.
Yeah, absolutely. And what does Will Cox's ultimate training setup look like? If you go build your own training setup tomorrow, what would it look like?
A front paddock, no. I don't mind the concept of the paddock. Like it's different. That's only because I don't have yard set up, but I find you just do a lot more paddock stuff. So I think having that bigger arena helps. Like I said, I work in the shed, so tight stuff is me all day, every day. So I don't need to do much tight stuff in terms of forces and races and that. So I just something that nice big arena, put a few obstacles in, and we can work around it that way, I reckon. Yeah.
Yeah.
What age are you taking certain dogs to work, and what would you expect?
Ooh. Well,
what do they need on them for you to take them to work?
What was that? Sorry.
What do they need on them for you to take them to work?
Just a come call and maybe the odd sit. If they can come to their name, I don't see why you can't take them to work. Yeah, like especially where because I'm in an enclosed area in yards. Like I don't. Yeah, for me anyway. A come call works, and having them be able to come past charging stock. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't normally take them. Sorry.
No, you're right. Keep going.
I don't normally take them. Just answering the other half of that question, I don't normally take them until they're about anywhere from 15 to 18 months old. You just take them and give them a little bit of a look. It depends on their advancement. But yeah, normally if they're comfortable, like I want to make sure that they're comfortable because you don't want no bad accidents or anything. And you just want a fun, enjoyable time so that when you go back there next time, they're like, damn, right, let's do it.
Yeah. And you take young dogs with you, and just tether them up and hang out with them.
Yeah. So
lunch.
Yeah, I'll take some with me and tie them out, and sometimes I will cut them loose. Go and have a swing on that that's not going to run up the race. So yeah, I'll take them to work. Like you got to take them out and give them that experience, even if they are like an 8-week-old pup, and that goes back down around the bonding, and that's what I did so well with Sam. Is that I had that time just to tie him to the back of the buggy. We went moving mobs, just being able to be free, and they learn that they can trust in you, and yeah, be part of the pack.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to put into your line of dogs or into your pack?
Jeez. Anything that on the collie side, probably a bit more eye. Yeah, something with a bit more eye, I think will be the next stage for the collies. Like not sticky eye, but just nice paddock eye.
Yeah.
Just something that's nice and honest and correct in a paddock style. And probably the same with the Kelpies. Like, yeah, like I've got enough yard punch, and that now probably the same. Just something that's nice and honest, and it goes back to how I train out in the front paddock. You know, just something that's just nice and easy around the paddock section, because I know that I can always cut them loose in the yards. Yeah.
When you've mentioned a paddock a couple of times there, like when you are mucking around with a dog out in front paddock there, what kind of drills are you doing? Like, what are you showing your dog? What are you trying to educate it?
Yeah, so well, I'm just showing them the bigger picture, the bigger like the fact that it's a bigger environment, so they've got every opportunity to run off, you know, take off and go play or do whatever, but you know, they're happy to stick with me and the sheep that are standing in the corner far from home, you know.
Yeah.
So just just showing them that, you know, we're still working the sheep. So like you see some dogs when they're being trained that they get scared, and they want to leave the training yard on some people from the pressure. So yeah, I just take that out of the equation, really. And it's the same as just training, going around and teaching them the recall, and it's back to the basic stuff. It's just not in a limited yard space. It's just, and it just seems to work for me, and everyone's different, and they seem to hang by me and want to play the game. So that's all I can ask for.
And what kind of, like you mentioned sheep there, like what kind of sheep are you looking at to educate your dog on for that, and like, and for your
So
different levels of dog?
I've got some merino ewes. Like merinos are pretty easy to train for dogs. Like they're nice, easy going, but these ones, they're not real doggy. Like they're happy to take off down the paddock if they see something coming. So they're not easy, but yeah, they still work out. Like once the dog gets around them, they're really forgiving and bending, and it works well because I could have a dog playing fullback, you know, 300 meters off, and the young one I could be working didn't even notice that dog's there and it's just playing around the sheep. So it all plays its part. The sheep still go far enough, but merino ewes I think are the go at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. We've talked about some training. We've talked about some trial. Mate, let's go on to some trialing. Been around the trial scene for a long, long time.
Yeah.
But before we get into a bit of what you've done, what bit of advice would you give to someone that was maybe played around with the dog a bit, but just haven't started, maybe haven't got the confidence yet to have a crack? What advice would you give someone like that? Like, what should they be looking out for, and what would be the best way for them to approach it?
Played around a bit, but haven't.
So they've got a dog, you know, they've maybe done a bit of work with some mates or the local, maybe it's a city slicker that's done a bit at the local sheepdog club or what, but they're thinking about, they want to trial, they've got a dog that, you know, will go clockwise, will go anti-clockwise, they've got to stop, but they just unsure like whether they should have a crack or not. And
so I would encourage them to come down, obviously have a look. You don't know until you try, and even if that's just shutting him in the first force and saying that's a win, that'll do. You know, it's all step by step. So you know, I'd encourage them to come down, have a look. First, get used to the environment, the great community that we have of different people. You know, being able to talk on the sideline, and you know, if they enter and encourage, and then when I judge encourage, especially, I'm big on just allowing people to be able to help their dog. So yeah, I'd be telling them not to be afraid to follow the rules and step off and help your dog, work with them and get a win, and just lock them even in the first obstacle if you need to.
Beautiful. Great advice, mate. Fantastic advice. Because some people like you see it, like, especially some people get overwhelmed when they hear names, and they just go, oh, I don't want to be, I don't want to look like a goose, or so someone that's been around for a long time to give advice like that, I think that's pretty cool.
We all look like pelicans in front of each other. It's just whether we're good enough to beat the other person. Yeah, no, like, it doesn't matter what people think, because we're all individual people, and it's a competition. It's the same with the horses. Laura would agree. Like, every horse is different, so we can't all be robotic and be the same.
So, that said, does Will remember his first trial?
Will remembers one of his first trials.
Yeah.
Yeah. I only remember a couple when I was really young. I remember West Wyalong. I did that when I was quite young. I did the juniors there, and my father misdrafted. He has a curse from West Wyalong. But yeah, no, I remember a couple. Yeah, a couple of my first trials. I think I won my first encourage at Coonabarabran. I won my first encourage at Coonabarabran. I might have been 8. That was with Kamilaroi Queen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Have you got a trialing moment that stands out to you?
Well, winning the AASD, so the All-Round Australian Stock Dog this year, was pretty special. Just because, like, not only was it my first sort of big-ish win, but it was with a dog that I spent a lot of time with, and being able to train up myself. Yeah, like, it was pretty special for me. Another trialing moment. All those times I beat mum and dad. No. There's plenty of moments to take from it. Like, you take good moments from all your wins and all your success, and you can take learning moments where I should have done that, but I didn't.
Actually, speaking of, I just remembered a moment there that you talked about being your dad. Like, you still owe your dad $50 from that ASASD. Did you pay up?
Yeah, I did. I paid him out for that.
Yeah.
No, he cleaned me up on that bet. I can't believe he did that. That was off pure fluke. So, to everyone out there that's listening, we're at Geary at the All-Round Australian Stock Dog, and we were doing the 3 sheep course, and it was tough. Like, crossbred ewes that just ran like the clappers, and we had to pull them down. So the straight line was to the left of these football goalposts, and I said to the old man, Dad, I said, you won't be able. I bet you $50 you wouldn't be able to bring them down through the posts. Well, he did. It wasn't in the neatest fashion. He sent the dog out. The dog didn't see them straight away, and then he saw them and hit them at blistering pace, and the sheep just ran straight as they came.
Straight through the goalposts.
Yeah. So I was in utter awe, dragging my jaw along the ground, going, what
you just looked at me, you're like, oh, I can't believe that just happened. That just cost me $50.
Yeah, no, I was like, what? Because it was a young novice dog, Cox's Freckle, and he's going to be a really nice dog. But yeah, I didn't think of it. I wasn't thinking straight,
mate. So obviously I know, but for our listeners out there, mate, what form of trialing do you do?
Yeah, so mainly I do yard dog trialing. I'm involved with the New South Wales Yard Dog Association that run it, so I'm a member of New South Wales. And yeah, I've been yard dog trialing since I was 4 or 5 years old. Obviously bred into it and never looked back since. Since I left school, I probably enjoyed doing it more. Really took it in my stride to do as much as I can I slowed down a bit now, but yeah, and in terms of trialing, I do a little bit of cattle and a little bit of three sheep, but not as much as what I'd like to.
What is it about trialing?
What is it about trialing? I'm a very independent, competitive person. No, like you do take competitiveness into account. Like it is good to have a win, but I don't know. I really like it. I like going there, seeing people that I've seen for ages. So, you see people weekend after weekend, and you still have that time to say good day to them and chat about what you did that week. So, yeah, like there's a good community around it. And yeah, I enjoy the traveling too, like just being able to travel. Like I went to Warrialda, Wallabadar last year, and that's out near Corinda. I've never been there, and I only entered because I was going up to get that collie bitch I was talking about earlier, fed water. And yeah,
Can't wait to win.
Oh, yeah. I was fortunate enough to win there, but just traveling up there, new scenery, talking to people I haven't talked to for ages. And
how cool was the environment there?
Like, it was awesome. For a festival, if anyone that lives around the Corinda area or in that northern zone, trialers or non-trialers, you really got to go to the Wallabadar Festival. Yeah, no, it's pretty good. I would recommend taking a jumper and a jacket because it was freezing cold. I nearly was like sitting on the fire bucket. But yeah, would really recommend it. Tim Mackey runs a very good trial there, and yeah, no, it's pretty good.
It was bloody freezing.
Yeah, it was very cold. What
about banter? Like mum and dad, you get a win over them. What's the banter like?
I don't really do much banter. Yeah. As what I like when I was younger, I was a lot cheekier and would be like a lot of banter, but we all work together now. Normally, yeah, if there's a bit of banter, it's we stick it to each other a little bit as the competition's on, but it's not as like we're leading up to a trial going, I'm gonna beat you. Like there might be the odd, like if the Australian's coming up, we'd be like, oh, I hope your dog's prepared. This dog's gonna get around him, but no, yeah, not a lot of banter. We all work together. Like from my sense, if I have success or I've been to a trial and had no success, I still ring nearly every person in my family just to tell them how it went and how it felt. And, I did this wrong. I need to work on this. How do I do it?
That's cool. Like, and you mentioned like the community there before, like, and you've been trialing since 4 years old. Did you ever feel, or have you felt trialed out, or just that passion for it? Just lose the love a little. Yep.
I did lose the love in. When did Laura come down? I think was that 2021, Laura. I think when you came down to Carra. Yeah,
a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. So I think 2021 or 2022, I lost love for it a bit. I just stayed home, did other things, and yeah, like it comes in waves. It's like any sport, really. Like you play sport for a very long time, it will fade slowly, and then you find love for it again, and you're back at it.
Especially when it's like your job as well. Do you find that difficult? Like you work dogs all day, every day. Sorry, have I got you?
Yeah. I was just trying to listen to what you said. Sorry.
No, sorry. Do you get it like in terms of it's your job all day, every day, and then to go and do it on the weekend as a hobby? Like, how does that?
I don't work them enough at work, to be honest. Like being a shearer, I'm actually on the handpiece a lot of the time. So I'm really proud of my team to the dogs, just for the fact that every time I take them out and work them, that they look 10 times better. So, like it's a bonus. Like, yeah. So, like work wise, like I know what you mean. Like we have big weeks on the trailer there sometimes, and does it? I don't think so because I like to see what happens after work, after the intensity and, the grind and grit, and we're going hard out. What are they going to do when the pace slows down at a trial? What
Actually,
can they show me?
yeah. And we'll come back to that for a sec. But I was just thinking there for a moment, like you would have been as a young fella around that many dog schools, all right?
Yeah.
Did you ever have a resentment for being around dog schools so much? You're just like, I'm sick of dog schools. Like,
I
I
think
just want to do something else.
there was a time there as I was getting older, I would just go down because it was held. Most of them were held in Manildra at the local
Yep.
showground.
Golf club.
But
Golf course
most,
there.
yeah.
Showground,
So
Covering.
most of the time, I just go down the street and hang out with some friends or go to a friend's house.
Yeah.
That's as I was getting older. Like, I used to love being there, and everyone will tell you that. Came to the dog schools that I'd be around, running amok around, playing with all these different people. But yeah, as I got older, I used just to go down the street and hang out at a friend's house if I wasn't working a dog, because normally I wasn't working a dog at the school because I only had one dog at the time.
Did you learn much or anything by watching other people come to the schools, like different people all the time?
Yeah. So a lot of people that came to the schools had different breeds of dogs. So there was a few corgis, English collies, maybe, is that what you call them? Like the really long-haired ones that you see on the paint ad.
The English sheepdogs, yeah.
Yeah, English sheepdog, Doberman, there's heaps of different breeds. So I did learn a bit, just learning how they went around their business, and how one thing I'd take away from it is how you treat each and every individual different, but still get the same outcome.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, no, I just thought I'd ask you that. I don't think anyone would have been around as many dog schools in this country that as many of you have been, because that was just, all right, you just grew up. It was just the norm for you, right?
Yeah, well, I had no choice. Really, like, I made the worst decision when my parents asked me if I wanted to do little athletics or go dog trialing. I said dog trialing, and I've been carted around Australia ever since. But no, I've enjoyed it. Like, I always did, and I always will enjoy traveling to a trial or a dog school. Like, I'll be in the car in a heartbeat. But having to go with mum and dad and my sister Emily, obviously, because I had no choice. It made me enjoy all that stuff. Yeah.
You mentioned being a member of the New South Wales Yard Dog Association there. Like, you've been judging for a hell of a long time as well, yeah?
I'll be a novice judge for when did I start? Parks. So yeah, be nearly 4 years maybe.
Okay, yeah.
4 or 5 years.
I thought it might be long. So when you become a judge compared to someone that had so much experience trialing from such a young age, how did you find that affected or changed your trialing, or did your trialing change?
Yeah, heaps changed. So it's funny you say that, because when I was a youngster, and go back to trialing stories, I used to go and get Dad's clicker out of the car. And I remember doing this at West Wyalong. I would go and sit in the middle, where the seating is at West Wyalong there, between the two rings, and I would sit there and see if I got the same score as the judge. And I was doing that at like age 13, 40. Like, I was just silly like that. Like, I just wanted to see if I got the same. And then, I grew up a bit more and realized that I like the judging side of it still. So I took it to the next step, got my judge's application, and went judging. And my trialing has changed heaps from then. Not only that, but my eyes have opened a lot more to like working stock and that. So, when you're judging, you see a lot of things, and then so I reckon it has changed heaps.
Yeah, beautiful. What is there any ambition, something you'd like to achieve on the trialing scene?
Oh, everyone wants to achieve like bigger and greater things. I'll be happy. One day if I'm lucky enough to win a New South or an Australian, I'd be happy. But I don't want to rush things. I'm quite happy with how things are going at the moment. I've got a small team coming up. We're going to go to Queensland next year where the Australians will be held and just try our luck there and see how we feel. And obviously, winning the big ones is always a nice feeling. But I'd like to have more of an influence and becoming I wouldn't mind becoming an open judge as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just being able to help new people. Like, I'm only young myself, so like I said, I'm never going to stop learning. But our trialing game needs more upcomers, and if I've got to help to do that, so be it. I would be more than happy.
Between being a judge now and the oldies running dog schools, and obviously being big influencers for people in their schools to have a crack at trialing, like that's why I had a crack at the end of the day. Like, your old boy was into me, like, you're gonna have a crack with his dog or what?
Yeah.
Right. Like, you're gonna like rip the band-aid off, mate, and have a crack. Like,
yeah.
What do you see with people that want to make that transition that they struggle with the most and they could probably work on?
Oh, everyone's scared of embarrassment. I find, like, I've had a few people I talk to and help, and you just got to have a go. There's no such thing as embarrassing yourself. Either the run goes well for you or it's just not your day. And that's the same with some of the best, and that's how we get our winners and our place getters, because that's their day and sometimes it's not their day. So I just think that people struggle with embarrassment, or that they feel like they're being just watched, like we were saying earlier. And then another worry is probably people worry about their dogs, or my dog's going to do no good. There could be some local farmer with his dog and it could be absolutely amazing. We won't know until they have a go.
Being around for so long, have you seen that? Or have you seen like some fella that just come out and just whip people out of nowhere?
Yeah, so I don't know if anyone has been to Bribbury Yard Dog Trial, but there's a fellow there called Trevor Ryan, and Trevor owns Richmond Merino Stud at Quandialla there, and Bribbury's the only trial he ever goes to, and he had a really good dog called Yabby, and he just cleaned up with Yabby, mainly in the local, but he won a couple of novice, and I think he made him into an open dog, but just, each year Trevor was there and would win, sort of thing. Like, I've seen some really good locals rock up with their yard dogs, and you're thinking, why aren't you trialing?
It's pretty cool to see too, right?
Yeah, no, it's really good because they just go about their daily business. Like, they don't worry about commands or whistles or nothing. It's just go back and the sheep are in and put away in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Have you got a favourite trial?
Favorite trial? Yeah, I've got a few. I really enjoy Turawina. Turawina is a really nice trial, run by Brendan Butler. It's over near Coonabarabran. I think he does a very good job there. I think he might be thinking about making it into a championship down the track, but that would be up there for me. I really enjoy doing that circuit of Binaway, Mandurin, like that Dubbo Coonabarabran circuit. I just really enjoy it because they're not too big. They're nice and tiny. In terms of like attendance, like sometimes when you go trialing, you go to some trials and everyone's there, and it does get overwhelming, like the big trials. So it's good just to go to the small trials and see people that are there that are trialers that do really good, but they don't go to the big ones. So you get
I know what you mean. Like, you just go to rub shoulders sometimes with people that you don't see as often as you would when you go.
You go to
like
the small ones.
You catch up and
like it's really good meeting everyone at the big ones, but it's always good to go to the small ones because there's some really good trials around that they never go to the bigger championships or anything, and you get to catch up with them, and it's really good. Yeah.
And I'm assuming a lot of these people at the smaller trials, and all the trials, but especially the smaller ones, would have seen you grow up as well, right? So
Oh,
they've
I
always been
think
telling me,
every
like, "Hey, young Will."
I think every trial in New South Wales has seen me at some point. I don't think there hasn't been been one I haven't been to. In terms of I've travelled, yeah, and I get the same response, whether it's big or small trial. Like, hey, Will, and I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that people know me. And yeah, it's just good just to talk to people.
Especially now, telling the missus and the little one around to be like, I remember you weren't too much older than that.
No, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, getting so my partner Tegan, she enjoys doing a bit of trialing. She's probably more competitive than me. She loves it. She gets right in on it, and she's always asking me to trial my dogs. Can I work? Can I work Sam? So no, it's good having like my own family now and giving that next generation onto Lucas. Like I'm sure one day he'll either grow up trialing or he might become something else. Like I'm not going to put that upon him.
You probably go either love it or hate it, right? You probably go
Well,
one way.
Yeah, that's right. Like I took a loving to it. My sister, she enjoys trialing, but she is an spectacular singer and she loves her singing. So it's a bit like that. So
Yeah.
Emily likes having a go at trialing, but she's singing is her thing and she cleans up at it. So yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Mate, is there any advice you would give to someone that wanted to pursue a career in the livestock industry?
Yeah. Same as what we've been saying all night, just having a go, putting yourself out there. Like it's not everything's going to run as smooth as what people make out. Like if anyone says it's going to run smooth, then those are the people that have been doing it for 50 odd years. Like there's always going to be ups and downs when you're starting out, until you find what part of the sector you like doing, whether it be in the sheds or sale yards or station hand. So yeah, just putting yourself out there, feeling, and don't give up too soon. Like have a feel for whichever section that you do, and if you like it, you like it. If not, go to something else that There's always going to be a place for heaps of people in our sector. It's just which part of the sector that they want to do.
Do you think something like trialing is a good platform for people, even if they're not interested in running a dog, but getting out and rubbing shoulders with a few people?
Oh yeah. Like our trialing community, like everyone's like there's people that are always like rub shoulders with people. Some people really really close, and some people, and that's good. It's good to rub shoulders, and because you can find people that live near you or people that are like you, and
It can open up opportunity, like work opportunity as well, right?
definitely. Yeah, definitely. Like when I first, so as soon as I left school, I had a couple of people ask me what I was doing straight away, and last month I had someone ask me what I'm doing and if I like doing it because I was just wanting to see what I was, just they're going to keep me on their horizon for a different type of job. So yeah, definitely, because everyone that does trialing, like obviously there's some people from Sydney like yourself and Laura and others, but most of the people that do trialing, that we all have a job. Everyone's got a job. So trialing is a sport and it's something that we enjoy doing, but at the end of the day, everyone's got a job and there's heaps of opportunities if you talk to the right people.
Yeah, absolutely. Mate, is there anyone you'd like to see us sit down and have a chat with on Dog Talk?
I don't know if you've had him yet, but I reckon Billy Luff would be good.
We have had Billy, yeah. Actually, someone asked me the other day, can we get Billy back on? They said he's really entertaining. Can we get Billy back on and come up with some new things?
I didn't know if you had him or not, sorry. Who else? Who could I think of? I reckon Craig Ogier would be a good choice to.
Yeah.
I've seen Craig. Like I haven't spoken to Craig as much as I would like to, but like I've seen some of the success he's had, and My mate James spends a lot of time with him, so I reckon he'd be, just a different mind. Like it's always about having different minds and seeing what people do. So yeah, I reckon Craig would be a good one. Yeah,
Well,
he's
awesome.
been
Thank
around
you for that,
for a
mate.
while.
Throw him on the list and we'll reach out.
Yeah.
As
Mate,
always.
really appreciate your time tonight. It's been awesome having you yarn to you.
No, thank you for having me.
You're right. Laura's not going to let you go that easy.
Would you
No?
rather fight one duck the size of a
Oh.
horse or 20 horses the size of ducks? And more?
I remember this one off the first episode.
I might
Was
have
it-
to update it.
Was it 20 ducks the size of a horse or one horse?
One
Size of
duck
a
the
duck.
size of a horse
Yeah.
or 20 horses the size of ducks?
20 horses the size of ducks. I
And
reckon.
why?
Because you can either accomplish something with them as a team, and they wouldn't be too hard to take down either if they went
Duck
fair.
wrangler, look at him go.
I reckon one duck would be hard to fight if it was the size of a horse. So you look at it both ways, but yeah.
I reckon it'd be a nasty arsehole. Imagine that thing coming at your wings flapping.
Yeah.
Will, thank you very much for your time, mate. We really appreciate it. To everyone listening in tonight, thank you. Hope you enjoyed the chat. And please remember, we learn every day, and the day we stop learning is a sad one for all of us.
Thanks,
Thanks, mate.
Thank you very much.
Good night.